Hey everybody, welcome to Board Game Heaven. My name is Raymond, and in this video I'm going to do an unboxing of the Conan the Conqueror expansion for Conan by Monolith Games. Along with all of these boxes you see here, we have the Shadow Kingdom, the Deluxe dashboards, the Tales of the Red Brotherhood, the extra figurines box that we got with the Kickstarter, and the Tome of Skelos, which has extra adventures. So let's quickly open up the boxes and take a look inside. Right, so this should be the box for Tales of the Red Brotherhood. Comes in a plain cardboard box with just a nautical symbol on it. It does say Tales of the Red Brotherhood on the back. An expansion for the game. It takes about 90 minutes to play. 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up. It says here what's inside. It's basically just 2 double-sided map boards and a scenario booklet, so there's not a whole lot in here. So let's just have a look at those tiles. All right, so we've got a French and an English booklet here with the Tales of the Red Brotherhood, table of contents. So the game board rules are explained here. So you're basically on a ship. And here are the scenarios. So we have the mutiny, theft on the high seas, the curse of the deep, part 1 and part 2. And that's it. All right. So let's take a look. These are pretty big. So they're basically like game boards instead of tiles. So we have this cool looking board of a ship, the lower decks. You can see, you know, the crew's sleeping quarters there, and the storage over here, the masts, of course, the where they row, the benches with the poles. On both sides we have a treasury here, another storage room here, and I assume the captain's quarters over there. It's a little bit bright, but that's that. And on the other side we have a ship with 3. This have 3 masts as well. I don't know, it doesn't look like it, but we have this with some ballistae mounted there, which is pretty cool. The rudder, some stairs, of course, stairs leading down. So I wonder if this is the lower deck for this board's upper deck, because this does have 3 masts, so it does look like it. It's pretty cool. So you can put them side by side and go up and down. So here as well, you know, a treasury, sleeping quarters here, the huts. Some storage over there for slaves, it seems. There are shackles, and here as well. And we have the galley over here, weapon storage, and the captain's quarters over here, with the stairs leading up there, stairs leading up here and there. So yes, this does match. So that means that the other side of this is the upper deck of the other ship we saw earlier. So that's this one, which has 2 masts and stairs going up on both sides, and here upper deck. So also pretty cool, has 2 sloops. So yeah, if you're adventuring with Conan on the high seas, then you could use these boards. So that's pretty cool. Just thought I'd get some extra boards for the game with the latest Kickstarter. All right, let's open up the next box. Here we have a box without a title on the front, but it's the Shadow Kingdom. It says so on the back and on the sides as well. And it's about the necromancer Thulsa Doom, the nemesis of Kull. And he allied himself with the snakes that speak. So there's a new evil to face. So we get 13 miniatures, 2 hero sheets, and a scenario booklets to expand your base game. All right, so let's open that up and see what's inside. So my booklet got mangled because it's on the top, and that's where they push in this flap. So yeah, could have probably put that on the bottom instead of on the top. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. And it's of course the English one and not the French one, which I didn't need. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer there. But yeah, I guess that happens sometimes. Anyway, let's take a look at these player boards first. So it comes with 2. So we have King Cole here. This is the French version on the back. It's the English version, but it's really just the name. The rest is, of course, just icons and numbers. So that's King Cole and Brule back here. 2 new heroes that you can use on your adventures, and of course they have miniatures as well. We'll take a look at those in a second. So my rule book here tells you a little bit about the story, a bit of lore. We have here in a scenario called Shadows Linger, and chapter 2, again some more lore, the Serpent's Coils. And chapter 3, Night of the Kings. So yeah, they all have a number 4. I don't know. Oh, this is 3. Oh, the number of players probably. Yeah, I was thinking that was the chapter number. But they're basically just 3 scenarios, and these are the miniatures. Oh, it's actually taped. That's good. Let's get that tape off. More tape over here. There we go. All right, so this is Brule. Here he is. Mighty warrior with a large scimitar and a spear. Nicely detailed. So you have that one. Then the other one was King Cole. That's this figure wielding a double-bladed axe, battle axe, standing in a battle pose, ready to strike. The big fur cape. Nice detail on that as well. Very muscular figure. And then this is the Necromancer Thulsa Doom. It's pretty cool. It's also big model. It seems larger than a regular human. And all these billowing cloaks, rags that he's wearing. It's pretty cool. So we have that. And the other ones are just 10 identical snake people. And that's these. So this basically adds just 2 new heroes, 1 nemesis, 1 bad guy, and 1 kind of new enemy type. Plus 3 scenarios. So it's not a whole bunch of new content. But, you know, if you want to expand on your game, you can always make your own scenarios, of course. And the Monolith website does have extra scenarios that you can download. So hopefully they'll make some new scenarios for these as well. All right, let's open up the next box. All right, this is the extra miniatures box. Also comes in a plain brown box with a image printed on it. So probably something we won't see in retail unless they change the packaging. So let's take a look inside. I hope they didn't pack any booklets on top. And there we go, it's just the miniatures. So yeah, this was actually a pack that you could get, which had some bosses, basically some larger miniatures from, what was it called again? Mythic Battles Pantheon. So these are basically crossovers, if you will, to the Conan universe. So that's pretty cool. They did not come with any booklets or any cards. So they're just the miniatures, but there are scenarios that use these. So we have the flying monkey here, which we also saw in another crossover kit. And looking pretty good. Large miniature, big ape with wings. This seems a bit fragile, but it's actually pretty tough. But I mean, that could break if you're not careful. So take care. But otherwise, it's nice and sturdy. So hard plastic. Lots of detail on the fur and the muscles and the teeth and everything. The wings. Really, really small, you know, like fur detail there. There's a really texture detail there. It's pretty good. I'm liking that. We have a large snake, which is pretty cool. Also, again, with the very, very small detail scales there. Pretty cool. There's all kinds of skulls in the center there. Bones and skulls. It's pretty cool. So that looks very frightening. Could be even Tulsa Doom snake. And that is what grieves me the most. You killed my snake. So we have that. We have this creature here. And this one is actually from, if I am not mistaken, what's it called again? Claustrophobia, I believe. But the new one. There was a new edition also by Monolith. And which was pretty good. Basically the same game as the old Claustrophobia, but, you know, revamped, more modern. And I quite liked it. And I think this miniature is from that game as well, one of the big bads. So you can have that as an enemy. We've got the Hydra from Mythic Battles Pantheon. Also a really nice figure. Large base. It's got 5 heads. And definitely looks like something you could encounter in a Conan story. Also with the scales really nicely done. It's got flippers for hind legs, so it's aquatic. Just has the front legs so it can crawl onto land as well. Amphibian creature. So, and this is a multi-part figure, but they hid the seams pretty nicely, I think. You can see it there, but from the front and from the top, it's barely noticeable. It has some extra folds in its skin here, so that's nicely obscured. There's a fold here as well. This is a bit more noticeable on this side particularly, but it's pretty good. Really nice model overall. And we have this one. I think it's attached to the plastic, so I'll have to cut through those. There we go. I don't recall what this monster was called anymore from Mythic Battles Pantheon. It was also some kind of aquatic monster, but this is huge. Look at that. I mean, that's a big miniature. quite hefty as well. Big chunk of plastic. Look at all the details in the wings there. That's pretty good. All of those veins and the folds in the skin. It's got sort of like fur on the upper body and the arms. All of the snakes in the hair. It's, you know, like Gorgon-like creature. It's got all of these swirls on the head and on the back. Looks pretty cool. You know, same detail on the back of the wings. Love all the scales, tiny little scales there. Really, really detailed. It's got metal shackles on the arms, claws, and some detail here as well with the bigger scales on the belly and the smaller ones on the back. So yeah, really nicely done. And again, the multi-part figure with all of the seams hidden away pretty well. There's a little bit of a seam in there, but you can barely see it. So, well, it's in the shade a bit. It's a little bit shadowy, hard to see, but yeah. Pretty impressed. There's a seam here as well, which is also very nicely tucked away in the scales there. So that's a pretty impressive figurine here. Really big. So, and that was a nice little add-on. Wasn't even that expensive. You could just add that if you wanted to have some more monsters. All right, let's take a look at the next box. Right, so this box has the Deluxe dashboards. Got some nice art on the front. I really like that. It's pretty cool. And on the back it simply says Deluxe dashboards, which are these. You can put your player boards in there, and you basically have slots where you can put all of the crystals and other things. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's open up the box. All right, so that's in here. It's basically just cardboard. Let me just open that up as well. Take that tape off, or just stick it in so it doesn't stick to the dashboards. There we go. So I'll just take a look at one of these. You can flip them open like so, and then you can push out all of these parts. Just punch them out like so, like that, and these, and then you put your character board in here, flip that shut, and then you have a nice Deluxe character sheet, which is pretty nice. Was a nice little add-on. It's basically just cardboard, but you know, it does help to keep all your tokens and crystals and everything in place so they don't slide off of your character board. So we got 4 of those in here, of 5, even 5, yes, because you can play with up to 5 players, and 1 dungeon master, if you will. So 1 for each player. Pretty nice. Let's take a look at the Tome of Skelos. All right, so before we go to the main box, let's take a look at the Tome of Skelos, which is a hardbound book. It says Tome of Skelos on the back. It's a nice image on the back as well of Conan. So looking really nice there. So let's open that up and see what that book brings us. There we go. All right. Starts with that same image that we've seen in the other booklets. Nice. All right, table of contents. So this has a solo or fully cooperative mode where you don't need a player to control the enemies. Different approach. Rules, the Overlord, that's what they call it. So you can set up the Overlord as an AI, which I particularly like. We've got some solo and co-op scenarios, of course. Or just this explains how that works. Campaign rules. And we have 7 new scenarios and a prelude to play with those rules cooperatively. There's also an adventure mode, which is pretty cool for different numbers of players in here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new scenarios. And the last part of the book is an art book. So it has a section with all kinds of art. So it's really nice. So we have the rules and clarification over here at the board, and the paper is nice and thick. It's really pleasant as well. So we have the different boards that you got with the core game. Explain some different rules for those in this game mode. So the solo cooperative mode is being explained here. The Overlord setup. Interesting. How the Overlord board works. That's very interesting. I'm really particularly interested in that and seeing how that plays, because I mostly want to play co-op. 1 versus many can be fun, but if I had the choice... Here we go. Campaign book. So we have the prelude, back in the village. The Bay of Death, Part 1, the Captain's Blood. And Part 2, Devils from Sky and Sea. We've got No Safe Place, with a spider there. This is the map. We've got 3.5, On the Edge. And 4, An Unseen Evil. With the enemies here, it's a little bit bigger scenario. The Accursed Village Part 2, Horror Above, Horror Below. That's where you need to snake. And it also tells you, where the board is found. So this is the picked village from the core box, Citadel of Horrors. So this is also Citadel. This is from Conan the Conqueror, so we've yet to see this one. I'll open that next. Here is the flying ape. Infernal Abode. Also uses... Oh no, this is the inn from the core box. The Ophidian Menace. We have the boats, the ships from the core box. The Curse of Zogar Sag. That's cool. Also with the Temple from the Conqueror box, which we will see in a bit. And the Adventure book. In the Halls of the Dead. The Staggering Gods, which is also from the core game. Devil, Take That Woman. The Riddle of Diplomacy. Corruption of the Phoenix. Shadow from Acheron. Ambush in Akanu. The Depths of the Lost Citadel. Plenty of scenarios here. It's pretty cool. And finally, of course, the art book. So we've got Conan here. The Phoenix on the Sword. And Zenobia, Hour of the Dragon. It's nice. Zalto Tun here. And Kitten Acolytes. We have ghouls and Balpteor. We've got this manifestation of Yogg here and a manifestation of Mitra. Really cool. We have the deep ones there. The Children of Gula. Conan the Pirate and Niyaga. We have some pirates here with the ballista. Nice big art all around. We have Brule, King Kull, the Serpent Man, and Tulsa Doom, which we just saw in the smaller expansion. And finally, Gorm. And that's it. That's the whole book. That's pretty nice. Get a lot of gameplay out of that. Let's open up the core box. All right, so here we have the Conan the Conqueror expansion, which is a box just as big as the core game and the King box. I really don't like the fact that it doesn't have the title on the box. None of these boxes that we just saw had any kind of title on the box. It's always on the side. So I don't know why they did that. I mean, the art is nice, but I'd like to see what the box is called. But maybe these won't ever see retail. I don't know. And then it doesn't really matter. On the back, we've got the boards, the new hero dashboards, all the cards for the evil player, and the new miniatures, some of them. It has 55 miniatures, no less. It's got some extra life point markers, the Overlord activation tiles here, hero sheets, and some new equipment and spell cards, tokens, and the game boards, and some mini-map tiles. So, let's open it up. All right. Now, just as in the core box, you get some cardboard boxes that hold all the trays with the minis, and a smaller tray for the cards. We also get some base clips, base rings in copper and gray here. So we have that. We have these new cards. So probably one set is French and one is English. So let's keep this in here and open up this one. And let's take a closer look. So we've got an anchor here that you can use as a weapon. Tells you which dice to use and the weight. We've got an Atlantean axe. Looking really cool there. Double-bladed axe, just like King Tull was using a cutlass. We have an Akbitanan sword. Looks like a gladius. We have a kitten staff, a net, heavy spear, halberd, a map, a spiked shield, Zamorian chain, looking really cool, the Nemedian poniard. We have spiked mace, that's looking very cool. There's some Caestus, Dagon's circlet, the mantle of Gula, Stygian cloak, lockpick, Conan's greatsword. We have some spells here: Rending the Veil, Whirlwind, Emir's Retribution, Summon a Demon, Yogg's Hunger, Changing Destiny, and we're back to the anchor. So yeah, a little stack of new cards there to add to your game. A placeholder to keep everything in place. Let's take a look at the punch boards. So we've got a punch board here with these Overlord tokens for all of the enemies. We've got some new various tokens. So this looks like rubble and webbing, stuff that might impede your movement. You have some enemy tokens here in case you don't have those miniatures, which I did get. So we have that winged ape here, the Hydra, that monster from Claustrophobia, and Tulsa Doom. So even if you didn't get those miniature expansions, you can still play since they added these tokens, which is good. And the double-sided The other side of all these tokens, of course. All right, one of these fell out. We have these tiles, which kind of look like ladders or decks or something. So let's put that here. We have one of these tiles, so an extra room, a pit, some sort. Now the other side again, and a bone pit. Pretty creepy, but very fitting for Conan adventures. A whole bunch of extra Overlord tokens here, all of these monsters to activate them with their accompanying tokens, should you not have the minis. Double-sided, once again. Then we have the board, which is kept in place by a couple of pieces of cardboard, which is nice. So we have that. Let me just see if I can open that and get that in the frame, or at least partially. It is a double-sided board with a temple and a castle. So let's see. That's pretty big. But you can see here, there's this is a castle. The inside of a castle here with some rooms, some cells with chains. There's a stairs leading down. We've got some sleeping quarters here, some room with a bed and a rug, table, desk. We have a kitchen kind of here, a mess hall where you can eat. We have a courtyard. There's the drawbridge, and in the back we've got a weapons room, an armory. It seems like they were playing cards there. Oh, this might actually be outside then. Yes, this is probably just outside. Although, no, this is inside, so yeah. I'm guessing this is inside looking out then. Probably. Anyway, it looks pretty nice. Really, really detailed. I really like the art. And of course they indicated all of the separate sections where you can move your characters. And then on the other side, we've got the temple, another big board. So it's basically an old temple with some collapsed rocks there. It's part of the roof came down, I guess. We have this column here and there, a couple of smaller columns. And yeah, looking pretty good. All these different rooms in the temple. Creepy looking temple. There's some spider eggs here, I guess. Some webbing. And there's some kind of, I don't know, a summoning circle or something over there. Some kind of ritual is being performed. Looking really dark. Really creepy temple. So that's also a nice game board. Nice and big. So we have that. And then finally we got the new miniatures. So let's open up that box. There we go. Am I missing the character sheets? Let me see. Does seem like it. Wasn't underneath. It's not in here. And it's not underneath any of these. So that is very odd. The box did say that this comes with 10 hero sheets, which are depicted here. But I'm not sure if they're in here. Oh, that's strange. No hero sheets here. Nope. I guess they forgot to pack those. So I wonder if that's a common problem. Anyway, let's take a look at the miniatures. So we have these. I guess these were the ghouls. That looks pretty nice. humanoid creature. Detail on this is okay. Guess it's mostly a, you know, fleshy creature, skin, muscles. So we have that. The ghouls, and there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of those. And we have these archers. So yeah, new model with a dagger on the belt there. It's got a quiver on the hip, drawing a arrow on the bow. So we have those, 10 of those as well. And then we have these priests, these cultists, which we saw in the art book just now. Yeah, this is also nicely detailed. And then we have these unique characters here. I forgot all their names, so forgive me, but this one is pretty cool. He's wielding 2 maces, spiked maces. He's got some skulls on the back there. This ogre-like creature. And that's pretty cool. We got Balpateor here, which is pretty nice. And I remember there being a separate expansion for Balpateor as well, a different sculpt during the first Kickstarter, but I didn't get it. It was a bit expensive at the time, so I'm happy we now got a miniature in this box for him. Very muscular man. So that's that. Here is Conan, wielding his two-handed sword. Really nice. You can see the chainmail armor underneath there. Nicely detailed. He's got this lion belt. Also pretty nice. Some cloth over that. A cape, or, you know, whatever this is called. It looks pretty knightly. Screaming. There's quite a nice detail on the face there. Better than these ghouls and these archers, I would say. But yeah. Definitely more love has gone into the sculpt of these heroes than these, although these were pretty good. Then we have Conan the Sailor here. Also very muscular, very detailed, holding the scimitar. Pretty cool. It's got a dagger in the belt, small vest. It's a very nice model. Now we have this, forgot the name, sorcerer, I believe. Also nice detail on what he's wearing. He's either extremely skinny, or he's like wearing a rib cage, because you can actually see ribs there. All kinds of little attributes, accessories hanging from his belt, all these bags and stuff that he's carrying. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. Then we've got this woman here. We also saw art in the art book. She's got nice long hair. She's got a dagger. Cool model. And finally, we have this one in this tray, who is holding a dagger. It kind of gives me a Willem Dafoe kind of vibe here, looking at that face. Alright, so that is the top tray with the new heroes and enemies. Next we have some bigger models, some bigger enemies. So we have this pirate ballista crew, which is pretty nice. On a big base, we have the ballista with a big arrow being drawn, ready to fire. These two pirates manning this machine. It's like on a pivoting joint there, because it's from the top. You can see that it's turned. It's pretty cool. He's got a hammer. Really nice. This is pretty cool. So we have 5 of those there. And we got 5 of these big, these apes or these yeti, whatever they were called in the art book again. But that's pretty nice. Again, very much detail on the fur. Nice and dynamic pose. Face in a snarl. Powerful creature. Then we got 5 of these deep ones. Pretty nice. Really cool figure. I love the big fin on the back with the ridges in there. Lots of detail. You can actually see some veins or something in the tail. Also very cool. You can see the detail on the legs, the muscles, and the texture of the skin. And they're wielding an anchor, which is very nice and thematic for a nautical creature. Super cool. Deep ones. They're also pretty big. So we have 5 of those. Then we have this manifestation of whatever deity it was, which is basically just a big statue come alive with a big, and this is a bit tricky, of course, a little bit bendy, so be careful with that. Seems there's also already a little bit of a stress mark there at the hand. So it might have already been bent a bit while packing. But fortunately it is intact. So that's looking really cool. I like the fact that it's had these all broken parts along its body, because it's, you know, it's broken apart. It was a statue and now it's moving, so it had to break up into pieces to allow for that movement to magically happen. That's pretty cool. We have this large spider. Ooh, that is a very creepy looking spider. I can imagine if you painted this and put that down somewhere, you could scare the heck out of anyone. Look at all the eyes there on the head, the fangs, very hairy torso, creepy legs. That is a very creepy spider. It doesn't come with a base because you can just put it down like that. That is horrible. That is probably the creepiest spider model I have in my collection right now, and I've got a few. Most of them have bases, and some of them aren't this detailed. And some of them are just very obviously miniatures, but this, oh boy, paint this up. That's gonna scare the heck out of people. Right, so this manifestation of, was it Yig? Or Yog? It's kind of like a very creepy looking Lovecraftian slug with just all kinds of tentacles coming from underneath this carapace. And all these little, you know, orbs there. It could be eyes all over the body, possibly. It's got like a maw in the middle of its head. That's also pretty nice. So we have that. Let's see, how was that in here? Kind of forget how that was. I'll watch I probably like this. So those were all the miniatures in here. Sadly, I can't show you the player boards because they weren't in the box, so I'll have to ask Monolith what's going on there. But yeah, that was everything that comes in the box with the Conan the Conqueror expansion. And so that was my unboxing of the Conan the Conqueror expansions by Monolith Games. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And please also consider becoming a Patreon saint to my channel by clicking the Patreon link in the description below or the icon at the end of this video, which will take you to my Patreon page. And there you can support me for as little as just $1 a month, which is greatly appreciated and really helps the channel. You'll also get access to some Patreon exclusive videos that I post on that page, as well as your name in the credits of all of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.